I feel drawn to do an energy update that I haven't done for eons, and I'm quite tired because they're pretty much the same to me. The same. It's not exactly the same because we're going through different stages of our awakenings and different realizations come through and different things are happening within our own energy. Yet everything else outside of us seems to be the same, but it's not exactly the same. It's just a stage where the changes haven't caught up with the physical, I would like to say, but it's not that. It's not even that. What is happening lately with this year of 2026 and how things are changing within ourselves, the realizations we are going through, the healing that takes place? Well, of course, it has to do with the feminine and masculine energy within us, a rearrangement that takes place mostly in the divine feminine, but it has also to do with feminine and masculine alike energies. So to get down to the point, the masculine energies have to do with ancestral healing. The feminine energies have to do with ancestral healing. And it's not just any random ancestral healing that takes place, but it's mostly the family we grew up into. Father, mother roles and archetypes in our lives, and exploring ourselves from a deeper sense of what is truly going on within that dynamic. And regardless of the healing you have already done about the inner child, your inner child, it goes a lot deeper than that. I was watching lately Jerry Wise. He's a therapist about narcissistic families. And I was drawn to him and explore through him a few things. So I will be using a few terms he's using because I actually love them. So what he's talking about is soul family. Not soul family, but the family's super soul and the family's Wi-Fi. And through these labels he's using, what comes down to this era's healing has to do with that family's Wi-Fi. We are energetic beings, regardless of everything else. So we read energy, we are using energy patterns. So what we perceive as emotions, as thoughts, as beliefs, these are energy patterns. And we are usually caught up in the cause and effect. That is one of the perspectives we can use, but it's not the only one that we can use in our self-healing journeys. It's also to do with how we feel within ourselves and whose voice is within our heads. And yes, sometimes it's very, very obvious whose voice is this. So that is the easy part. Though there are some voices within our head that sound like us, that are not us. And these voices have to do with the maternal and paternal roles in our lives. And going back to the inner child, you can't actually find a problem to solve sometimes. What you can find is through the adult version of yours, when these voices have been so ingrained in your beingness that they don't come as clear, this is my mom's voice, this is my dad's voice. So this period, with all these new moons, full moons, all these planets rearranging themselves as they have been doing forever, are calling us this time to examine deeper whose voice is this within ourselves. A lot of things are running through our system because we were taught to believe we are not good enough, we are not worthy enough, that there's always something wrong with us. And see this even from a lightworker's perspective. Witches were hunted, we were burned, we were this, healers were burned, healers were accused of being witches. A lot of things were happening, and it's easier to reflect on the past life and the trauma we carry to our soul's blueprint, rather than focusing on this life, where things were ignited, initiated, activated in this life as well. In that space, what you have to do is go back to your childhood, but as an adult, and reflect on how you were made to feel and how you still feel, and how this voice is not even yours, and it may not even be your mom's and your dad's voice. Those voices may be coming down ancestrally from a generation to a generation. And you may be feeling that, oh my goodness, my mother was raised like this, but this wasn't also her voice. She had her own traumas, her own wounds. My father was raised like this, and this is not even his voice. He always was filling that gap within himself, this and that, and I'm still following that space through him, from him, and from my mother. And in that space, what you are called to do is reverse the process. Reverse this whole dynamic that keeps playing from a generation to a generation, and regardless how far you live away from your parents, if they have crossed or not, if you live with them or not, you can reverse that process of stopping these voices that come down from a generation to a generation, and this is a fake identity that has been running through each one of us as we are born and raised. Just the realization that this is not the voice that I will allow to run through me, to speak through me, to make me feel that this is who I am, this is how the healing starts. And of course, it takes a bit of acknowledgement, but also a bit of effort on your everyday life. When you realize this voice is loud again in your head, running your life, controlling your next steps, speaking to you as if it is you, you are only able to stop this by recognizing it. Okay, I heard that. How we can massively altogether stop that voice? By going to that 0 point, that black space of nothingness, and acknowledging that through our ancestral lineages, through our parents, that this is not a real self-identity that has been running through my family. I'm choosing to stop this now, once and for all, so you collapse that energy and it brings you more clarity. There's less noise in your head. There is less stress in your system, because this is another thing. There is that stress that runs through the family, through family's Wi-Fi, and that has to do with the toxic masculine energy, but also toxic feminine energy. So when you make a conscious choice of stopping this from running through your system and sitting in that space of pure consciousness, of the 0 point, you are changing your own whole system of how you operate as a being, of what voices you are connected to. You are collapsing and dissolving something that was running through the family from both sides and was actually getting you into a space of not being able to connect in a coherent way with yourself. It's not easy. If you hear that voice, I'm glad you do. Because again, this is not you. Everything is easy. Everything comes easy to you. And all it takes is that realization. It's not easy, it's the fear talking. And that fear is not even yours. So get into that space of allowance and collapse all these voices that run through your family, run through your parents, down to you, and you as an adult still operating through that space, because the realization that this is not my voice was missing. That will help you breathe into yourself, connect in a more coherent way with who you are, and let the conflict dissolve, because this creates a conflict within yourself, and you may have realized it. So this is the healing we are going through, and for many women that are listening to this transmission now, we are rewiring our systems of what is acceptable, what isn't acceptable. We stop accepting behaviors and patterns from others as normal. There's a veil that has been lifted the last few months of what is normal and what isn't normal. And that veil will continue be lifting completely to the ground of everything, of what we have accepted and normalized as okay, as a behavioral pattern, as a behavior that someone shows to us, of what we accept as normal, most importantly. And stepping away from many connections will be easier. Even if you think that you are on a twin flame journey, if you believe that, if you have seen the signs and everything else, it will be easier to resolve even that, because many twin flame journeys are completely fake. They resemble that energy, but they are completely fake and karmic, so it will make it easier for you to say, okay, this is not a twin flame, this is not an acceptable behavior that I need to be receiving, me being on the waiting list of what? For what? You will be claiming a lot of your power back through that process. And many of these energy patterns work through the parental voices you were raised from. So your twin flame, whatever you believe as your twin flame, karmic, fake, anything, even the real one, are reflecting back to you all these misplaced voices within yourself. And it's time for you to reclaim that power back in a space of recognizing that this is not normal, this is not okay. And through that, of course, as well, we are awakening, even the males, into what behavior is okay, what behavior is acceptable, where they are coming from, seeing and accepting things within themselves that they have done in patterns they used to operate from, and there's a different recognition of self in that space. Those who are not ready to advance, to take the next step, to ascend into who they are, their true self, will stay in the same process of repeating the same cycle over and over again. And that is a choice, and that is fine. But for those who are ready to create a different reality within themselves, they will be able to see and heal themselves in a different way from what they have done so far. So any toxic masculine patterns, even within the feminine energy, the feminines, the females, will be actually be dissolving in a huge way from now on. You will be more in a space of trusting where I invest my energy, who I allow into my energy, into my space, and who not, who is not allowed in that space. And that is absolutely fantastic because it comes from a space of a healthy connection within self. And this is what we are grounding with the ascension process and the spiritual awakenings. Grounding a sense of healthy living within self, which shows in a more aligned way, in a more coherent way, with less conflicts, less difficulties within self, less feelings of that pull and push, should I do it, should I not do it? And of course this comes with a deeper trust for intuition within self, with that connection with self at a deeper level. There's no sense of obligation anymore. That is being collapsed as well. And it is huge because obligation can weigh you down, can keep you down, can keep you in a space of gaslighting yourself. And that is something toxic that was running through feminine and masculine alike. I hope this resonates. I hope this makes sense, because in my head it does make sense at least. And in the way that comes through, at least it makes sense in many ways. Please do reflect on those patterns that made you feel that feel of pull and push within yourself, because that is a conflict in your energy of different voices, of different beliefs, where you have to do some self-reflection of whose voice is this and why is this coming through. You can reflect as well if you are a copy-paste of your mom, of your dad in that space, but in a different way, because that is what keeps us from understanding it. Because when we are a bit advanced versions of our parents, we don't get to see that it's still our parents running through our own systems. We get to feel, oh, but I'm not my parent, I'm doing this better and differently and this and that. Yeah, but you're still doing that in the opposite way. It's still not your voice. It's still not you. So be okay to reflect with that. Reflect on that in a different way. Be okay to see that in yourself. It's not a self-torturing reflection that takes place. It is a reflection that takes place in a way that helps you connect with your true voice and your true self. And this is where I'm closing this. I hope it resonates. Please do leave comments. Help me see where you are at, if this resonates to what level and degree, if it clarifies things for you. And as always, be true to yourself and be your true self. And remember, everything is energy. Much love, Elena.